Let's talk about TikTok. Is it acoustic? I got a touch of the Tism. Neurospicy gang. TikTok is insane. The algorithms and censorship mean that people come up with weird phrases, but there's some words that TikTok has invented or popularized that are kind of, for lack of a more intelligent phrase, give me the ick. Something's always felt a bit off to me when I've heard these things said before, but it wasn't until I started to properly think about it that I realized, shit, that's kind of bad. Firstly, I wanted to talk about touch of the Tism. That phrase in particular became really popular on TikTok from around 2022 onwards, but it was seen as far back on Twitter and forums as like 2010. Referring to autism as Tism or saying that someone has a touch of the Tism is now widely used and understood thanks to TikTok, but is it thanks to TikTok or is it fuck you TikTok? Lots of autistic people don't like it, but some find it funny. Can I use it? Can you use it? I went onto Reddit, as all the cool people do, and this was one of the first results when I had a look into touch of the Tism on the r/autism tag. Seems that a lot of people don't like it. If you think about what the phrases are actually saying, like a touch of the Tism, implying that autism is measurable, it comes across that you can have a little bit of autism or be a little bit autistic when it is not. You either have it or you don't. A lot of neurodiverse people really don't like this implication because the notion that everyone's a little autistic is shit. Another phrase popularized that I really hate was people saying, is it acoustic? Luckily for me, on my For You page at least, this came and went pretty quickly, but it's fucking offensive to say the least, referring to autistic people as it. As a substitution for saying the R slur, I've seen lots of people say restarted as well. People want to say a slur so bad they say the next closest thing that they can without the TikTok data picking up that they are cyberbullying. Neurospicy. How quirky. General opinion from neurodiverse people is that it seems to be okay to use within your own circles because we understand the implications behind it, we know it is a joke, and we understand all of the other things that come with being autistic. But to me, at least, there is just something not quite right when neurotypicals use it. I think the thing that makes it feel weird when neurotypicals use it is the instances that they're using them in and why. A lot of the times it is identifying differences and associating or blaming autism. They will see a video where someone is acting differently to that of a neurotypical and they will comment like, is it acoustic? Or I think I got a touch of the Tism. And all they're doing there is pointing out that they see something different and immediately associating that with autism. We know autism is so much more complex than a single behaviour noted in a short TikTok. And most of the time it's negative behaviours, things that people find weird or annoying. Lots of people use it in a really derogatory way in places where they would have previously just used the R slur. It's become a more socially acceptable way to point people out who are different, and you can hide behind a layer of, oh, it's just a joke, it's a trend, you know, everyone says it. The use of neurospicy as well, I think this one just makes me feel a bit funny because it's kind of making it sound quirky and like it's just a fun little thing when it impacts so many aspects of our lives. I found someone that said, I honestly use it with very close friends who I unmask around. When my brain stutters or I have a tantrum or I'm not processing something correctly, I'll say, sorry, it's the Tism. It helps make light of something I otherwise would have felt embarrassed about while explaining to my friends what happened was because of my ASD and it's not a big deal. I have used it myself and it's understandable to want to use it to dampen the weight of talking about autism when there is still so much stigma around it. It's okay to want to use it or reclaim it if you are autistic, but making jokes about people and at them when they are not in on it is not nice. We're allowed to talk about autism in a serious way, and it is a shame we feel the need to have to joke about it to be able to have conversations with friends. It reminds me a bit of when people say, I'm so OCD, when they actually just mean it as a synonym for neat. It minimalizes all of the struggles that come with the disorder, and people do the same thing for autism, but instead of a synonym for neat, they just mean weird. I think saying things like Tism and creating new synonyms like acoustic can be really harmful in the same way that these examples of OCD jokes are harmful to that community. On OCD, this disorder is perpetuated strongly in the media as a harmless trait. When the dominant public image of OCD is an organised room, it leaves little space for people with OCD to talk about the real harmful ways that it disrupts their life. So with autism, when people on TikTok comment, is it acoustic to any strange behaviour, How are autistic people meant to ask for help when they're having meltdowns? How are we meant to reach out or explain ourselves with any of the other wide number of things that impact us because of our autism? Because lots of people will then just view it as these weird behaviours that people are pointing out on TikTok. It eradicates all of the struggles and focuses it in on the things that just irritate neurotypicals. But also, you are allowed to say autism and autistic, and creating other words for it just makes more stigma around saying autism. I've said that so many times in this video. You're allowed to say it, you won't be infected. You only get it if you get vaccinated. It's already hard enough to talk about, but now you're using alternate labels because it makes you more comfortable? Suck on that. So should you say it? Probably not. It makes sense that people feel the need to talk about it in a more light-hearted way because there is still so much stigma around it. So I can understand where it came from and the way that it was used amongst neurodiverse people to make jokes about themselves. However, neurotypical people don't understand the complexities of the disorder that we do, and so them using the joke doesn't quite have the same effect, meaning it's just a bit... Using phrases like this really diminishes the impact that it has on neurodiverse people's lives. And it's also used in a derogatory way a lot of the time, often in place of where people would have just said slurs before. For the majority, it's not intended well. If you go to say one of these things, think about your intention behind the statement itself. If you see a funny video and your response to it is something along the lines of, is it acoustic? Think about what that actually means for you there. Why do you feel the need to identify someone as neurodiverse, and why do you feel the need to point it out? There is no need. Fuck off. Leave us alone. Some neurodiverse people find it fun. Some people do not. Essentially, be nice, have fun. A lot of it is personal preference. I just think allistics need to know when to shut the fuck up. But let me know, if you are autistic, do you say any of these things? I've ripped my little guy. Violent stimming has occurred. My little crewmate has split his ass open. Do you think people are okay to say this? Do you think only neurodiverse people should be allowed to say things like this? If you know anyone that says these things and you want them to reevaluate what the fuck they are doing, feel free to send them this. I don't dictate what people can and can't do, I just talk shit. Think about it. If you want, you don't have to. But what you do have to do is follow me on Twitch. I stream games and shit. I don't shit on stream, I stream games and do... I wonder what platform I'd have to do that on. Probably make some money. I need to flash my tits.